Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kodash, and the Heavenly Father. True name is Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashon Kodash, the whole tongue. And I say Barakathon to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf, and I say Shalom. And this is a sit-down lesson of this news article from CNBC, The Bottom Line, published January 14, 2026 at 10:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and last updated January 14, 2026 at 11:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, published by Alex Harani for the CNBC.com. And it reads, why the stock market keeps shrugging as Trump sows a more political chaos. It says the S&P 500 made ground and closed at an all-time highs Monday despite the criminal investigation into federal Jerry Powell. Because I believe Jerry Powell is going to be replaced when his term is up, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be a new Federal Reserve chair very soon once Jerry Powell's term is up. It says because I guess it was like Jeremy Powell, at times he was able to lower the interest rate, but not the way Trump wanted him to lower further down more, the interest rates. But he lowered them down a little bit, throughout the years, recently as well too. So that's been back and forth between Jeremy Powell and Trump when it comes to the interest rates as well too. And it says the conventional market wisdom suggests that the political turmoil can drive down stocks in a near term as traders hedge bets. It says traders appears to be trying to decide whether what is a short term flare up versus a long term problem. It says stock investors largely shrug off the criminal investigation of the Federal Reserve Chairman Powell. The latest examples of the markets look past political risk. The Dow Jones Industrial Average initially tumbled nearly 500 points on Monday. Right, because I believe the Dow Jones been down consistently for the past 3 days. Because as of today, I would say it was down to like 200 points when I checked it earlier today. And then it finished off like negative 42.36 points. It says the Dow Jones Industrial Average nearly tumbled nearly 500 points on Monday, and investors worried about the probe representing a broader push by President Donald Trump, to scribe away the central bank autonomy and the setting interest rates. It said, but as the session went on, the blue chip index along the broader S&P 500 small cap focus.
Hello, Moto.
It says, but the sessions went on the blue chip along with the broad S&P 500 and the small cap focus Russell 2000 were able to cut loose at the end of the day at all-time highs. The turnaround vocal conventional market wisdom, which suggests that political turmoil can drive down stocks in a near term as traders hedge bets. Some market participants wondered if Powell's announcement of the investigation would resurface the Sell America trade, which places a higher risk premium as U.S. assets. But the vocal support of Powell from the leading economists around the globe pairs with the clear opposition for some Republicans in D.C. and may have some investors feel assured that this was a passive flare-up of tensions rather than a tide-changing moment for the Fed independence. Economists reiterated Powell's framing that the investigation was less about the central bank's reinvigoration and more about interest rates not coming down as fast as the Wall Street hopes. Former Chair Janet Yellen said she was surprised that the markets isn't more concerned. It says Republicans' opposition to the investigation becomes increasingly clear over the course of Monday, which could give traders secret, security that TIF would not escalate much further. Senator, Senator Thomas Telly's RNC said it would block any of Trump's nominees to the central bank after the investigation was made publicly, while stocks buckled. Expectations for a decline other assets class shows investing evidence that investors were talking noticed that the investigation of the U.S. dollar slide against peers, while safe has metal golds and silver climbed to a new high. The U.S. stock didn't see as much upside as international counterparts are underperformance global basket this week. The CBOE Volatile Index (VIX), known as the Wall Street Fear Gauge, jumping on Monday, but didn't work out of the recent trading range, which signals investors like Cyber Financial CIO Market Meckley that investors wouldn't to worry yet. Investors expect all this to blow over, or that they simply doesn't want to focus on this as we are entering the fourth quarter session. Malik said, indeed, by Tuesday, investors shift focus to the latest inflation data and corporate earnings reports. Right, with this current political tension between Jeremy Powell and Donald Trump, because I believe it was what was that news article the day before yesterday. Jeremy Powell accused Donald Trump for intimidation or something like that, because they was they was tackling against one another over one. Trump wanted to Jeremy Powell to lower more and more of the interest rates, which that was taking place from last year and all the way into now. So as it says again, while the stock markets keep shrugging as Trump sows more political chaos. Right, so we seeing the division between the both sides, from the liberals and the Democrats. I mean the liberals and the Republicans as well too. And this is St. Mark chapter 3, especially as we like in the midweek of a Wednesday, as Thursday, Friday. We'll see how the market's going to react. But as of right now, we definitely seeing the Dow Jones Industrial Average been in the losing streak for the third or fourth day as of Wednesday, from Monday all the way to Wednesday. So for as Thursday and Friday coming up, we're going to see how it plays out.
Hello, Moto.
This is St. Mark chapter 3, verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided, except the kingdom not stand. Right, so if a kingdom be divided, except the kingdom not stand. So we see the kingdoms at this modern day, a kingdom are being divided, especially from a political sense. It says why the stock markets keep struggling as Trump sows more political chaos, especially with this current situation with Jeremy Powell. And I believe it's going to be another Federal Reserve chair is going to be elected once Jeremy Powell's term is up. And I believe it was, as I was reading through the paragraph of this news article, it was saying that potentially from the Republican side, some of them back Jeremy Powell. I think he said the new chair, the new Federal Reserve chair that's going to come in to replace Jeremy Powell when his term is up. And I believe they were saying like some Republicans might block the new nominee, whoever Trump chooses. So we're going to see how that plays out. And as it says again, while the stock markets keep shrugging as Trump sows more political chaos. St. Mark chapter 3, verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided, except the kingdom not stand. Right, so if a kingdom be divided, except the kingdom not stand. From a political perspective, from an economical perspective as well too. Bring up some more news articles. And this is from Yahoo Finance. And this is from Yahoo Finance as of January 14th, 2026 at 3:02 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it says stock markets today. The Dow Jones, the S&P 500, NASDAQ retreat as tech leads markets lower. Bank slides after earnings. And it says U.S. stocks retreated on Wednesday after investors dumped tech stocks as banks stocks fell, continuing dim start to the fourth quarter earnings sessions. The tech heavy Nasdaq Composite shanked over 1%, while the S&P 500 fell over 0.5%. Both index pairing larger losses from earlier in the sessions. Meanwhile, the Dow Jones Industrial Average moved down from 0.1%, continuing a pullback as a drag Wall Street Index off of record highs. Right, so it was down 42.36, 0.09% in the negatives category. It says the tech-led Wednesday declines as a major cap fails. Nvidia shares lost ground even after the U.S. formally gave the green light to its chip exports to China. As exports emerging on potential restrictions, Tesla, Broadcom, Avgo, and Oracle shares also saw notable losses. It says, meanwhile, Wednesday's broadly quarterly reports of Bank of America and Wells Fargo, which both posted a surge in profit as a trading actively powered result, but their stocks fell along with that Citigroup adding to the early earnings season. Analysis that began with a overwhelming release from heavyweight JP Morgan Chase. It says on the macro front, investors harsh wholesale inflation data that adding that a mild reading of the consumer inflation together the flurry of this week data has showed prices pressure remain sticky, firmly upbeats for a near-term host of interest rates, but keep on hopes alive for the two cuts this year. Elsewhere, the metals continue to furious climb as gold and silver touch fresh record highs, and with silver breaking above 90 for the first time. The blustering rally in precious metals also being stoked by raising geopolitical tensions, escalating attacks on the Fed and the President Trump at their center. Also, markets were on alert to hear for the Supreme Court, which gains declined to rule on a closely watched challenge to Trump's authority to set tariffs. Trump has framed the case as a national security flashpoint, saying if it rules against him, we are screwed. So hopefully this was edifying of this recent news article. As it says again, the stock markets today in the S&P 500 retreat as a tech-led markets lower bank slide after earnings. As we see in the markets down, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down for the fourth day. For the 3 straight days, consistent losses. And as this news article says, once again, especially with the political, because I think they said, as I was reading the news article, they were saying that while the political situation is going on between the case of Jeremy Powell and Donald Trump, as sows a more political chaos, even though investors, and that's part of it, the Dow Jones investment, they kind of shrug it off, but the markets were still kind of affected by it, especially for the past three days, and especially at this recent situation came up. As it says again, while the stock markets keep shrugging as Trump sows more political chaos. So with that, hopefully this sit down lesson was edifying of this recent news article from CNBC as of January 14, 2026, and last updated 10:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and updated January 14th at 11:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, published by Alex Saran from CNBC.com. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bakakadash, and the Heavenly Father. Chief name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashon Kodash tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim Akbaf. Until next time, I would say Shalom.